Hello and welcome to Game & Gain. My name is Muzz and today I'm going to be looking forward to the gaming year of 2021. First video that I am recording in 2021, and I hope you all had a happy holidays, a good new year, and we're back to the grind now, unfortunately, back to work, back to making content, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm refueled and ready to go. So this is my look forward at the games that are coming out in 2021 that I am personally excited about. So let's get started. Now the first game that I'm going to talk about is actually the first game that comes out in the year that I am excited about. And it may come as a bit of a surprise. It is a PC game, specifically an RTS. It is Stronghold Warlords. Now, if you watch my channel, you haven't really seen a much PC games on there, mainly because I don't have any real big rigs to play it on. I have a laptop, a gaming laptop that's decent, but I don't really have anything that can play any big games and allow me to record it properly. But Stronghold Warlords is a game from a franchise that I am very much in love with. Strongholds was one of my favourite games back in the day, way back when I had a desktop PC, chunky monitor, and I used to play that a lot, the original Stronghold, and I loved it. I loved building the castles, I loved the combat, the scenarios they placed you in, the sieging of the castles. It was a great game, and one that I may revisit one day in the future. But Stronghold Warlords is one that is taking it to East Asia, it seems, with some new settlements, new locations to conquer. There is some interesting new mechanics in it where you can actually form allies with regions, something that was kind of established in Stronghold 2, which wasn't really that well received, but you can actually like work with them instead of them just feeding you money all the time or materials, something like that. So Stronghold Warlords is it's a bit of nostalgia for me. It's a bit of a throwback in terms of games that I play. I love RTSs. I don't really play them enough, but I do think this will be one that I will look at and maybe pick up and maybe do a couple of sessions in it, because I love the castle building. It's just, there's something just nice about building up a castle, making sure all your people are happy, defending against invaders, and then going out and storming another castle. That doesn't sound relaxing at all, but when you're in the moment of the game, it's a slower paced game. There's not a lot of action. It's a lot. Game sessions can last from an hour to 2-3 hours, and it's just a fun time. So that is Stronghold Warlords. And now we come to Returnal, which is by a developer that I absolutely love, and that's Housemarque. You have heard me talk about them before. Resogun, Ex Machina, some of the best gameplay on the PlayStation 4 was in these games. And Housemarque is renowned for making these tight twin-stick shooters that are a blast to play. And Returnal seems to be a big jump up. It looks like a third-person shooter with roguelike elements where if you die, you don't necessarily, you keep some of the progress and then you go again. It's kind of that one more try mentality. You're like, I just want to keep going. And they really seem to be up in the ante with story as well. There seems to be a real narrative behind the game. Not that there wasn't in those other games, but this one seems to really have a focus on the story. There's Resogun, a blast to play, and it just looks insane. The combat still looks very much a Housemarque game, even though they've switched the perspective. A lot of bullet hell action going on, but it looks a bit more complex just with the step into the third person shooter genre. So I hope that if the gameplay is as tight as Resogun and Ex Machina, and they hit some decent story beats, then this game could be one of the big heavy hitters in heavy hitters in 2021. So one to watch out for, one that I'm very excited for. And here we come to Deathloop, which is a game that I am not absolutely dying to play, but it has me curiously interested in it. Mainly because of the developers who made the Dishonored series, Dishonored franchise, which is games that I haven't played but had some real acclaim behind them. With Deathloop, you play an assassin who's stuck in this kind of time loop where if they die, they go back to the start and have to do it all again. And it seems to be like you can influence it in certain ways where you can, instead of having, you have to assassinate targets, but instead of having 2 targets across the map, you can bring them together somehow, which I think sounds very intriguing to see how many different elements you can actually affect. And the game just looks fun. The shooting looks like a blast. You've got some Dishonored powers in there, like the blink, and you have all these different abilities. But the most intriguing one, and is something that I'm not really a fan of. This isn't my cup of tea, but I know a lot of people, they have a lot of people will be interested in, is they kind of have a Dark Souls invasion mechanic where you can play another assassin and stop the main assassin. I should have probably learned the names, but essentially you have a male assassin who's the main guy and the main protagonist, and then you have the woman who is the other assassin who is trying to take out this assassin, and it's played by another player. So I don't really like the Dark Soul invasion mechanic, just because every time I get invaded I die. So it will be interesting to see if they can turn this off or it's mandatory, but it would be interesting to try. And I think it would be quite fun to potentially go into another person's game and try to stop them. It depends on how overpowered you are as an assassin. It could be quite an interesting battle. But Deathloop certainly has me curious to see more of it, and I may give it a bash when it comes out. Why is it taking us so long to get a Left 4 Dead game? I mean, I know this isn't Left 4 Dead, but when Left 4 Dead 1, Left 4 Dead 2 came out, they were some of the hottest games. They're still being played by thousands of people to this day. Why there hasn't been another Left 4 Dead game, I will never understand. Even a remaster, something like that. It has been too long without this type of game. And thankfully we're getting it by the original people who actually made the Left 4 Dead games. Back 4 Blood, which, I mean, I'm down. I'm already in. When this comes out in June, I think it is, I'm going to get it because it doesn't hide the fact that it's a Left 4 Dead clone, if you like. It is. You've got very similar HUD, very similar mechanics. The zombies look pretty similar as well. You've got the different special infected, although the special infected look a lot more diverse, a lot more varied, a lot bigger as well. The tank was the biggest, and this seems to have one that's double, even maybe even triple the size. But you've got all the kind of similar enemies in there, like the Spitter or the Boomer, but also adding in some other ones. And this is just a game I want to play with my friends, just have some fun with it. Left 4 Dead, I played it very limitedly and when it was popular on the Xbox 360, and I just can't understand why a game like this has not come out. Maybe there has been, but just not to the success of a Left 4 Dead. But this looks like it is going to be a great blast to play, a great time with your friends, and looks to be, yeah, just Left 4 Dead, but different. It'll be fun. And now we come to Chivalry II, which is a first-person hack and slash sword fighting game, arcadey, brutal decapitations, chopping off limbs, if you like the sound of that, Chivalry 2 is for you. The game, I played Chivalry 1 on the PlayStation 4, really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the scenarios that you were in, the multiplayer matches where you had the scenarios were very varied, very fun, and I hope for more of the same in this. The combat is exciting, it's tough to learn, you've got different weapons, you've got different classes that you can use. It was just a really good game. The only thing was the frame rate was a bit iffy and the netcode wasn't exactly the best, so lag was very prominent in it. Maybe it's just my connection, probably was my connection, but it really seemed to be affected on Chivalry. But Chivalry 2 looks to hopefully improve it. I mean, look at that, just decapitations. The gameplay is just fun. The whole idea of it is just a good laugh, and I hope that the game gets some good success, because it is a game that definitely deserves it, and I hope that I can get some matches on it. That's Chivalry 2. Destruction AllStars, which car combat. I'm a sucker for car combat games. Rogue Trip, don't know if anyone's played that, is a PS1 game. One of my favourite games I've ever played. It was crude probably if I go back to it, but it had some personality, the weapons were fun. You go to Burnout as well, which I know is a racing game, but the takedowns and all that, and then Onrush, which is very much a car combat game with just different modes. And this looks to be kind of like an arena style car combat game, maybe a battle royale, which I don't know how I'd feel, but it looks a lot of personality in it. Will be interesting how it plays. The car combat looks fun, it looks engaging, looks exciting, and I like the whole vibe of the whole presentation. Looks fun, looks good, and I hope to give it a blast when it I keep saying blast. Hope to give it a chance when it comes out, because it's becoming a free game, or a game with PlayStation Plus, which will be pretty good. Rocket League, you've got to look at that. That would start on PlayStation Plus. I'm not saying this could get to the heights of Rocket League, but it could certainly have a pretty strong fan base if it is a good enough game. So, Destruction AllStars. And now we'll probably go against my better judgment and get this game. It is the Evil Dead game. Evil Dead 2 is my favourite movie of all time. Love it. Ash vs. the Evil Dead TV show was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that. Distinct lack of Evil Dead 2 or Evil Dead games. So when one popped up, I'm all in. It's probably going to be crap. Probably going to be rubbish. But I will get it, and I will play it, and I will play it to completion, because it's Evil Dead, and Bruce Campbell as Ash is all I need to hear. With the you can't wait, even though it will most likely be not the best game. But who knows? If I set my bar low, I might be surprised, which would be a good thing. So Evil Dead, the game. Now we go for Hogwarts Legacy. Now this is a game that is interesting to me. I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan. I am a Harry Potter. If one of the first 4 movies are on, I'll probably sit and watch it. After that, I don't really pay any mind to it. But the idea of creating your own character and living in this universe, becoming a wizard, becoming whatever you want to be in that world, does sound pretty cool for a game. And I hope they can expand on some of the grounds of Hogwarts, maybe allow you to explore places that are talked about in the film, talked about in the books. I think this is set way before that, but maybe you could see how they're formed or stuff like that. I think there's a lot going on here that has my mind thinking about, that is really intriguing me into what the possibilities of this game could be. I'm down to be, was it a beater in Quidditch, hitting the bludgeons, whatever. You've got the quaffle, the snitch, and then there's the one that attacks people. I'm down to do that, or become a Death Eater. You know, these are all things that I hope are possible in this game. They might not be, but it looks pretty far along in its development, and it looks like a good game. So I am, I say, intrigued to play this, and hopefully it will be what I've got in my head of kind of allowing you to create your own story through Hogwarts instead of funneling you down a path that you might not want to go down. Kenna Bridge of Spirits, probably the best art style that I'm going to talk about. The very Pixar-y art style is just a joy to look at. The game looks beautiful. They're adorable. It looks like it's going to be a good game to play. The combat, the action, the environments look all very well done. The story seems like it'll have a bit of emotion to it, which I like. And yeah, not much more to say on it. I'm just down to play it. Probably one of my most anticipated to play, just because it seems to be a smaller game. And I hope to see it, and hope to play it, and hopefully it can turn out very, very well. Outlast 1 is one of my favourite horror games. I played Outlast 2, I played the first couple hours, wasn't really digging it. Outlast Trials seems to be a prequel. Maybe co-op, which could be interesting, but if it captures the spirit of the first game, then it could be a really good experience. And I hope that they get back to that, get back to kind of a more asylum type feel. I feel that's where it is strongest. A lot of the outdoor environments didn't really do it for me in the second game. But Outlast Trials has me curious to see it, curious to see more of it, and hopefully it will get released around Halloween so I can do a Halloween playthrough in it. And now we come to the big ones. These are the biggest games that are coming out potentially in 2021, obviously subject to delay and all that. This might be a surprise for some of you who have watched me. All I've got is a PlayStation. All I've really been doing is PlayStation games on here. But it's not where I started off. The original Xbox, not the Xbox One, the original, the black one with the kind of X gun to it, where I played Halo 1 for the first time, was an incredible experience. Played Halo 2, 3, Reach, 4, and then stopped because I moved to the PlayStation 4, and obviously having two consoles is much more expensive, and I've kind of missed Halo Guardians and Halo Infinite. I mean, it's a Halo game. Every time there's a new Halo game, I always watch it and I always think, oh, I should get it. The Master Chief Collection is so appealing to me as someone who loves the Halo games, loves the story, the campaign, loves Master Chief as a protagonist, loves the universe that Bungie created. The shooting is fantastic. The weapons are so unique and iconic, and that's why Infinite has my attention. Will I get it? Probably not, because I won't get an Xbox Series X this year, if at all. You know, it's a lot of money to be spending. I'm not, unfortunately, that well endowed with money, so Halo will most likely pass me by again. But if there's a chance, then of me getting an Xbox, it will be because of this game. It's open world, which I don't really like, because everything's going open world. But if there's a game that can make it fun, it would be the Halo franchise. But you just think about the set piece moments in Halo, just some of the absolutely fantastic missions. Silent Cartographer, one of my favourite missions where you land on the beach, and that was technically an open level, open worldish, where you could do things as you please, but again, it still had a focus, you still had objectives, and you still had a clear goal at the end of it instead of just wandering around a big open map. That's my only concerns with the game, but everything else seems fine. So if there's a chance of getting an Xbox, it'll be because of Halo Infinite. I love horror games. Love them. Resident Evil 7 was one of the most engaging, exhilarating, terrifying experiences I've had in gaming. Was that because of the PlayStation VR or the game? They probably go hand in hand. They complemented each other very well. I'm not sure if this is on the VR, I hope it is, but if it's not, it is still going to provide you with a lot of scares. Resident Evil 7 was very, very well done, and it looks like Resident Evil 8 is going to carry that on and hopefully add on to it, make it more terrifying, make it scarier. The whole idea of the village could be very interesting, where maybe it's like an open world as such, where you can explore different parts, or maybe not a big open world, but just like an open level. But I'm really, really hopeful for Resident Evil 8, sorry, and what it can do, what it can build on with Resident Evil 7. Horizon Zero Dawn was one of the standout exclusives on the PlayStation 4, and rightfully so. And Horizon Forbidden West seems to hopefully try and build on what was established in Zero Dawn. The world was very interesting to explore, with the kind of ruins of the old world, which was our world. The technology, I'd love to see more of that. Maybe Aloy can get some more of it, utilize some more of it. But the combat of Zero Dawn was the standout for it. The enemies were tough. The robot animals were, if you went in unprepared, you'd get your ass kicked. The combat was just engaging, it was fun, it was strategic, and I hopefully they can keep that the same or add more to it. Some of the story was very intriguing when you explored the old world and you were learning about how the animals were being created. The other side of the story, where it was more the politics of the world, I wasn't really that interested in, but the game done a good job of the voice acting was good, so hopefully they can make that side more interesting for me. The world was, as I say, a joy to explore. The game was beautiful as well, and I'm just excited to do some more exploring. Seems to be San Francisco, which I've been to, so that'll be pretty cool. Hopefully Alcatraz will be there, and they can do some cool things with that. It just looks to be a good game. Aloy is a very good protagonist. Hopefully they can give her some more depth, some more background to her character, and it's going to be a big exclusive for the PlayStation 5, that is for sure. And now this left is to talk about the other big exclusive for the PlayStation 5. And now we come to the biggest game of 2021, the most anticipated game for myself, God of War Ragnarok. Now, the game God of War is a masterpiece, in my opinion. They hit every single nail on the head. Story, combat, atmosphere, world building, motion capture, voice acting, sound design, all of that was 10 or a 9, in my opinion. And they're gonna do the same thing. I think the story will be very interesting. They've got a lot of gods to play with. We'll maybe get to battle Thor. Obviously Loki was talked about. If you've not played God of War, I won't spoil any more. But there's so many gods that they can take from that world. There's so many different areas that we can explore. Unfortunately, the trailer's run out, but I'm still going to keep speaking about it. Kratos as a protagonist now is a lot more understandable. You can relate to him a wee bit instead of being this hulking brute of a god who just kills other gods. But with him and Atreus, the story was just, what are we on to now? Gotham Knights. We're not talking about that. That's not a game I want to talk about. Just ignore the trailer. But anyway, that's God of War. Yeah, it's my most anticipated game, probably rightfully so. The game is just, God of War was, as I say, a masterpiece in my opinion. And I anticipate Ragnarok is going to be the same. And I think they're going to do some very interesting things with the story. But that is me. That is us. That is Muzz done. It's probably not going to be a catchphrase. I've just been talking for like 30-40 minutes now, and my mind, my voice is going to a wee bit all over the place. So if you like this, you know, we're going to start ramping up the content again. Hopefully a lot of these games will come out this year. If they don't, I will be pissed. If you tell me what you think, what games you're looking forward to, what you're excited for. Do you agree with some of my choices, disagree with some of my choices? Definitely not excited for Gotham Knights, but let's get that out there. Looks just unappealing in my opinion. I'm a fan of the Arkham games. I'm going off on a tangent anyway, so do all that good stuff. Ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, share the video, share my channel. 100. 2021 is the year we get to 100.